If you struggle with molding thick hair into 2 Indian braids, then this video is for you. Make sure you have your blow dryer, your rat tail comb, red one wax gel, pre-straight Outre hair, Mousse, Spritz, and your water kettle ready before we start molding. Now we're going to start blow drying our client's hair. Me personally, when I'm dealing with thick client's hair, I like to make sure that the roots are very straight as possible because that's going to help with our mold. And as I'm going downward, I like to go upwards as well, just so that I'm going against the direction of the hairs. This will help you get the straightest hair as much as possible. When you're parting, you really need to make sure that you're starting from the direct middle. Sometimes I have to take my comb and I have to make sure that it is on my client's nose to ensure that this middle part is straight because we're doing 2 braids, so you definitely don't want to have a crooked line. You're going to follow this line from the front of the forehead all the way to the back of the nape area. Then we're going to grab our red one wax gel. This is going to help make this part very crispy. So you're going to apply this gel directly on the part and you're going to go right back over it and still create that crispy line. Do y'all see that? Now I'm going to section out these edges because she did say that she wanted a good bit out. Make sure you ask your clients how much edges they would like prior to molding. Now I like to start with the perimeter, which is the front, and then obviously like the back towards the nape area. You want to make sure that you're separating the edges from this and you're going to comb through it. Now the key to molding stitch braids is to apply gel throughout the entire section and not just on the perimeter. And as you can see, I'm only applying gel to just the roots of the edges. So we're going to start sectioning out this entire section and we're going to apply gel to the roots before we actually start combing through. This is very important because this helps the hairs lay down. This helps create that flat mold. You do not want to do 2 braids on thick hair where it's bumpy, it's humpy. No, we want to create a flat mold as much as possible without creating as much heat damage as possible. So right now, I'm going to comb in the direction towards her face. I like to do this in a slanted way because it helps me when I start braiding. But right now, we're not molding the entire thing just yet. We want to comb through what we've already molded. So that way we can ensure that everything is laid flat and in the same direction. Now it's going to get a little difficult as you're coming through because this is some good mold. This is a good gel. Do y'all see that? It is not going anywhere. There's no hairs out of place. You definitely want to make sure that you're molding throughout and don't wait until you apply gel in that whole section before you start molding. It makes the process a little bit easier. And when you get to the back, you want to make sure that you're separating this section into 3 pieces to ensure that this back is literally laid down. We're going to do the same for the rest of the sections. And this is how we're supposed to look, guys. Doesn't it look very sleek? Now, once we get to the top, before we actually start braiding, we just want to make sure that we have our section in place before the braid. If you are interested in learning how to do stitch braids, then there will be a course being available before this year is over. So make sure that you guys are staying up to date by subscribing to this channel. If you don't know how to already braid, then I suggest that you learn how to do basic braiding. But this is pretty much the end of the video. We're going to just be braiding and then I'm going to show you how I actually feed in the braiding hair. Now, because my client hair is already pretty much thick, this is how much braiding hair that I'm currently using because we're not at the end very yet. So usually when I get towards the end is when I start adding more hair. But this is just the easiest way for me to feed in the braiding hair as I'm braiding down. When you get to the very end, you want to make sure that you're gelling down her natural hair so that it can blend seamlessly with the braiding hair because we don't want any flyaways and we want her hair to stay tucked as much as possible. Once you finish with that braid, you're literally going to do the exact same step for the other braid. And once you're finished, I personally like to just make sure I am applying gel to that mold just one more time, you know, just to ensure that everything is laid. And again, you want to ask your clients how much edges they personally want out. I like to curl up my clients' edges if by request. Some people don't really like as much heat, but my client, she didn't mind. And we're going to apply the edges. And again, you want to ask your clients their own preferences, but this is how I like to do mine because she said she wanted a lot of baby hairs. And then we're going to dip it. We're going to add mousse. And when you're adding mousse to your client's hair, I like to do it on cold so that we can actually freeze the product. And then we're going to do a little bit of spritz. And then this is the final look. Make sure you guys subscribe. Thank you for watching.